Board of Commissioner meeting for Tuesday, July 11th, 2023. I am the chair, Krista Yoakum. To my right is Vice Chair Commissioner Sean Flowerday. To my far right is Commissioner Roma Amundsen. To my left is Commissioner Rick Vest. And soon, to my far left, will be Commissioner Matt Schulte. Please recite the Pledge of Allegiance with us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, you may start with the announcements.
Location announcement of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available for electronic viewing from the county clerk staff. Printing options are available upon request. These materials can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Item 1 is the minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on June 27th, 2023.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yoakum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 2 are the claims. 2A, amendment to the payroll claims ending June 28th, 2023.
Move approval of the payment claims
Second.
ending,
We have a motion and a second to approve the payroll claims through June 28th, 2023.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundsen,
yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yoakum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 2A, approval of the claims process through July 11th, 2023.
Move approval,
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims through July 11th, 2023. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundsen,
yes.
Yoakum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 2C, approval of a claim to El Centro de las Americas in the amount of $7,672.40.
Move approval.
Second,
We have a motion and a second to approve the claim to El Centro de las Americas. Please call the roll.
Amundsen,
yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Yoakum.
I will abstain as I serve on their board.
Motion carries 4-0 with 1 abstention. Item 2D, approval of claims including billing for goods and services beyond the 90-day time period provided in Nebraska Revised Statutes 23-135 to the Asian Community and Cultural Center dated February 2023 for a total of $1,014.20.
Move approval,
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundsen,
yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yoakum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 3, special presentations. 3A, Commissioner's Award of Excellence for May 2023 to Caitlin Ocean, Community Corrections in the category of productivity.
Would you please read the nominating letter?
Caitlin Ocean, Drug Screening Lead Technician with Lancaster County Community Corrections Office, has been selected as the Commissioner's Award of Excellence winner for May 2023. Ocean has worked for Lancaster County for 2 years. She was nominated by Crystal Jenkins in the category of productivity. In her nomination, Jenkins states monthly fees are collected for our 24/7 sobriety program. At times, it can be difficult to collect all fees monthly due to various reasons. From February 2nd to February 8th, Caitlin assisted in collecting $929. This is impressive considering our average collection of 24/7 sobriety fees was $1,200 since July. Caitlin assisted in collecting 77% of fees in just 6 days. Caitlin took the initiative to be creative with collecting these fees. Caitlin created an invoice document and took the time to review the document with each 24/7 participant to ensure they understood the information in the invoice and signed the document agreeing to pay the fees by a certain date. The extra steps Caitlin took in obtaining these fees were beyond her job duties and demonstrated leadership skills. Caitlin often demonstrates exemplary teamwork and a passion for the mission of community corrections. Caitlin completes all of her work through the lens of how she can help the agency, programs, and participants. Caitlin often volunteers to help with various tasks outside of her job duties and often helps other programs within the agency with various tasks. Caitlin pays close attention to detail in her role, which is vitally important for all programs within the agency. Caitlin is the glue for our agency and wears many hats with no complaints. For these reasons, we are pleased to award Ocean with the Commissioner's Award of Excellence for the month of May 2023.
That was a long nominating letter, and we didn't make you stand in front of us. You'd be weak in the knees, but we'd love to have you come forward now, Caitlin. And is Crystal Jenkins present? And Landon as well? Yeah. Where's Crystal?
Dad's got to take a picture.
Please, and you know what, Dave, if you want to come up here, you could take it from here.
Don't give him special permission.
This is actually a very fun award to see you receive this award, Caitlin, and really appreciate your work. And Crystal, thank you for recognizing the good work that she's done. I always think that is the ultimate reward, is when you are recognized by your peers, and thank you for bringing that forward.
Caitlin, it's my pleasure to be able to present with Commissioner Award of Excellence for Lancaster County for May of 2023. Thank you very much.
I would welcome Crystal or Landon if there's anything else that you'd like to add to this nomination.
Yes. First off, thank you to the board for this opportunity to be able to recognize our employees. It's very special when we're able to do this, and thank you to Crystal as well for identifying Caitlin as the leader that she is within our department. We, as managers, ask that we look for leaders in our staff at all levels, and Caitlin certainly fits that bill. Leadership is often described or defined as the ability to inspire, and Caitlin inspires us to remain positive and to always find the good in the people that we're working with and the work that we do. And so it's much appreciated. She's definitely a glass half full type of person, and always has a smile on her face, and brings that positiveness to the office that is just great. Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank all of the office for coming. It means a lot. I think there's like 3 people left in the office. They're all sitting right there. So thank you, everyone.
Well,
My dad.
well, again, congratulations, Caitlin. This is wonderful. It's my pleasure to recognize you in this way, certainly.
Very good.
Thank you.
They all go rushing off to staff the office again.
There is work to be done back in the office.
Thank you all for coming. We love it when we see a department come to support their staff. So thank you.
We can proceed with the agenda then.
Item 3B, 2022 Department of Corrections Employee of the Year Award to Jacob Hani.
And you are welcome to come forward too, Jacob. Thank you.
I nominate Officer Jacob Hani for Employee of the Year because of his tireless can-do attitude and positivity. Officer Hani treats all staff and inmates with the utmost respect and purposefully makes sure that everyone has the best possible shift while he's working with them. He goes the extra mile to help coworkers by stepping in to cover rounds, handing out trays, researching information to answer your questions, or complete any task you're unable to finish because you're needed in multiple places. Officer Hani is diligent in his work and never leaves tasks for the following shift. Officer Hani always displays a professional and positive manner. As a new hire, Officer Hani was a great resource for me as I learned my new job duties. He did a great job in explaining how to perform my different duties at various posts. Officer Hani always completed his assigned post duties in a quick and efficient manner, making his coworkers' jobs easier. Officer Hani is extremely knowledgeable about all of the different posts and the rules and regulations of the department. If I ever have any questions, he is one of the first people I go to for an answer. If I was going to train someone on how to interact with inmates, I would use Officer Hani as an example. I have personally observed Officer Hani interact with the most difficult inmates we have, and he does a great job in de-escalating the most tense situations. I believe Officer Hani's commitment to the job and positive attitude deserves to be recognized and celebrated. Nominated by Officer Shannon Riolo and Officer Jason Sweetland.
Good morning, Brad Johnson, Director, Lancaster County Department of Corrections. So we're here to recognize Officer Hani today. As you could see in the letter, that we actually had 2 officers nominate him, and you know that says something when you have more than one person recognize the value of one of their coworkers. So it's always an honor to recognize your folks. So I appreciate your work and congratulations.
First off, I want to say thank you to the County Board of Commissioners for giving us an opportunity to come here, and thank you to the administration, my families in the back, many coworkers. It's working in corrections is very hard. I've only been working in corrections for 3 years. Before that, I was in pastoral ministry, and working with people is something that means a lot to me. But it's hard. Many times, the corrections portion of law enforcement as a 3-legged stool of the police on the street, in the courts, and in corrections. Corrections gets overlooked big time, and it's hard. We see on the news all stories of these individuals who are coming into our custody. It's very easy to hear the stories about the arrests and what the accusations are, and to forget that these people are in our custody, sometimes for years. It's very difficult, because many of us spend more time with these individuals who are being incarcerated, waiting trial for some of the most difficult things. We spend more time with them than we do with our own families. It's stressful, it's long hours, it's hard. Many of my coworkers, they have seen some things, and they've had to experience some things that we don't want people on the outside to have to experience. It's very difficult. So we appreciate all of your support, and we ask you continue to remember the corrections officers, because it is very, very hard. When we go to briefing and we hear some days that somebody just got arrested, and there's many names that when they come in the building, we know it's going to be a hard time for us. We know it's going to be a long process, and we're going to be called vile names. There's going to be threats of violence, many things on a daily basis, and it is mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually draining. And we need not only our County Board of Commissioners and our administration and the community in general not to forget the corrections officers. Because when all is said and done, these individuals, they have to face their day in court, but until then, they're with us. And so we're going to do our best, continue to do our best. For me, myself, and for many of my coworkers, we've had a little motto recently that when we release people from custody and they go outside, we tell them, we say, have a great day, make good choices. Because that's what my mom told me. And maybe no one's ever told them before. And by telling them to make good choices, maybe they don't come back. And our community is safer, and they can have a better life as well. So thank you again for the opportunity, administration, and my coworkers. This is an incredible honor. Thank you.
It's very clear from your statements here, your attitude towards your job, and thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that with these newer hires. That's a great influence to get them started in the right direction. Thank you very much.
And obviously, you have a heart of service, and you want to help people, and we really do appreciate that. The one thing I would like to say is that what you have said is very difficult. What you're experiencing is very difficult, and sometimes it's tough to leave the job. And so for your family back there, yeah, we want to say thank you to you
Yes.
for your support of your husband and dad.
I would just say kudos to your mom and kudos to you for listening to her. So thank you.
I'm a smart man. I listen to my mom.
Well, tell her thank you on our behalf if she's available, and thank you for spreading that message and keeping it alive.
You've done yeoman's work for our community, and it does often get forgotten about. I know a little something about corrections and the way the way it gets shuffled to the back, and it's not right and it's not fair, but you are one of the foundational keystones that's keeping this community and really our society running. So thank you. Seriously, thank you for all of your work.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate the work. You mentioned family. Would you like to introduce any family that you've got in the audience with you?
So back in the back is my mother Debbie. In the wheelchair is my father Barry, my brother Jesse, and then in front of them is my wife Jessica, and then my daughter Chloe and my son Bryce.
Great.
And the other ones in uniform there, that's family too.
Thank you very much. And congratulations. It's being chosen by your peers in this way. That moves us to the consent items on our agenda.
Item 4 is consent items. These are routine business items that are expected to be adopted without dissent. Any individual item may be removed for special discussion and consideration by a commissioner or by any member of the public without prior notice. Unless there is an exception, these items will be approved as one with a single vote of the Board of Commissioners. These items are approval of 4A, amendments to the following county contracts. C-22-0568 with TL Geotech, Inc. for on-call material testing services at the request of the county engineer. C-21-0380 with Keefe Commissary Network for County Corrections Commissary Services. C-18-0424 with Fastenal Company for facilities maintenance and repair and operations and industrial supplies. C-18-0443 with Sid Tool Company Incorporated doing business as MSC Industrial Supply Company Incorporated for facilities maintenance and repair and operations and industrial supplies. The estimated cost of the county is not to exceed $3,000. Grant contracts with the following: CASA for Lancaster County for the Court Advocacy for At-Risk Children program in the amount of $15,450. Cause Collective for the Case Management Training program in the amount of $15,480. Centerpoint for the Community Support Outpatient Counseling, Medication Management, and Day Rehabilitation programs in the amount of $264,488. Community Action Partnership of Lancaster and Saunders County for the Basic and Emergency Needs Program in the amount of $178,030. Hope Spoke for the Outpatient Program in the amount of $61,800. Houses of Hope for the Transitional Residential Substance Use Halfway House Program in the amount of $48,410. League of Human Dignity for the Center for Independent Living Program in the amount of $34,772. Legal Aid of Nebraska for the Legal Aid Response Program in the amount of $20,600. Lincoln Lancaster County Child Advocacy Center for the Child Advocate Program in the amount of $49,440. Matt Talbot Kitchen and Outreach for the Hunger Relief Program in the amount of $14,482. People City Mission for the Family and Women's Shelter Program in the amount of $172,082. Waverly School District 145 for the preschool program in the amount of $100,000. Item 4C, grant contracts with the following: Boys and Girls Clubs of Lincoln Lancaster County for the Family Engagement for High School Success program in the amount of $13,779. Lincoln Lancaster County Child Advocacy Center for the Therapy Dog for Child Victims of Abuse program in the amount of $9,600. YWCA of Lincoln for the Girls Circle program in the amount of $20,000. YWCA of Lincoln for the Project Restore Family Support program in the amount of $15,000. Item 4D, setting a public hearing for Tuesday, July 18th, 2023 at 9:00 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building regarding applications for a Class C liquor license for TCN Services LLC doing business as Blue Catfish and a corporate manager's liquor license for Tongue C Win. Item 4E, received and placed on file reports for the following: Clerk of the District Court, Assessor Register of Deeds, County Clerk, Records and Information Management, and the County Sheriff.
Move approval of the consent items.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent items. I see no further discussion. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Item carries 5-0. The next item is 5A, the public hearing, applications for a Class C liquor license for the Shed Wedding Venue LLC and a corporate manager's liquor license for Courtney Dismeyer.
We will now open the public hearing for this application for the Class C liquor license. Is there anyone here to speak on that? We have, please come forward.
We usually have staff.
Well, I think we'll have if you wouldn't mind sitting in the front seat so you'll be ready to speak, we'll have staff speak to this first. Thank you.
And then I'll need to sign. Yep. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please answer I do.
I do.
Please sign in and state your name for the record.
Steve Hendrickson with the Planning Department, 555 South 10th Street. Just updating the board quickly on 2 items related to this application. One is that first, as we had noted to you in the past, the shed is under a special permit as an event facility. The city earlier in the year has started to actually revoke that special permit because they had not obtained a building permit, which is requirement of special permit. They have been working with building safety and got the first step in the building permit process approved. They're now, as I understand it, working on getting their bathrooms and other work done. Once that work is done, is inspected, they'll have their occupancy permit, and that step will be completed. So we're hopeful, while it is not yet reached the finish line, that will be done soon. The second item that we would update you on is that for an event facility, part of the operation of that is that you either have SDLs or you get your own on-premise license. And an on-premise license is a Class I license. And so this application is for a Class C license, which includes off-premise. Off-premise is the type of license that a liquor store might have. And so our recommendation is that this approval be only for a Class I license, which would be for beer, wine, spirits, but for on-premise. And because that is what is allowed for an event facility, is for the alcohol to be consumed on the premise and not off. And you might recall that Hillside Event Facility had the same issue. They came in and asked for a Class C, and we noted that it should be a Class I, and I believe they switched it over to a Class I. So that is our recommendation, is that this be for a Class I.
And you do recommend approval of a Class I?
Yes, we're still quite hopeful that we will be able to proceed. If for some reason the work never finished, we would proceed with our revoking of the special permit. However, we have put that on hold because they're making progress in getting the work done. And so we're all very hopeful that that work will be done soon, and that building safety will be then out. They'll make the inspection, make sure everything is up to code, and then they can proceed.
Great.
Should we do an approval of the Class I license contingent upon the completion of the required building?
I do think that would be proper to make sure that that step has to be completed, because technically their special permit is not valid unless they have received the occupancy permit, which is the final step in the building permit process.
Any other questions for staff?
Not for staff.
Yes, John.
And John can get more into the details of that.
Yeah, good morning. Just one procedural hiccup possibly with the making the Class I liquor license contingent upon obtaining an occupancy permit. I believe the board has 45 days from receipt of an application to issue a recommendation to the Liquor Commission for approval or denial of whatever type of liquor license. So in the event this took over 45 days statutorily, I think that would put us outside the window from time to application to ultimate recommendation to the Liquor Commission. I think the best thing to do at this point would probably be to deny and to direct the applicant to resubmit an application, just because we still have those concerns. And Steve, you're welcome to weigh in, but your position would probably be, I'm assuming at this time.
Yeah, definitely we'd like to get the occupancy permit done first before they start to operate. That is a condition of the special permit.
Otherwise, it's kind of putting the cart before the horse.
Correct.
But couldn't we still approve it upon condition? And then if they don't obtain that, then they can come back again? I mean,
yes, you could, but we're already, the 45 days is already almost up. And I haven't heard from Building and Safety, just that they recommended denial of this permit. So I think that the chances of that, and the applicant can address this if she likes, are probably very slim.
I think we'll get more information.
Okay,
Yes.
let's
talk
hear
with the
from the applicant. Thank you, and you'll need to swear in as well.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, answer I do.
I do.
Please sign in and state your name for the record.
Yes, I would like to get a Class C because a lot of times we have party buses that come through our venue. And with this, I would like the opportunity to be able to sell alcohol to them to leave the premise. That's the reason of determining it Class C rather than Class I. So I'd like the opportunity to have that option to sell to them. Otherwise, it would limit sales. Speaking about the building safety portion, I believe everything should be done by the end of July. That's from our contractors. That's not from me. I'm not doing the work. But I believe we're on the right progress of getting that done by the end of this month.
And when is the 45 days up?
I couldn't tell you.
July 24th. Thank you.
Oh,
Which is before the end of the month.
yeah, that's really tight.
It will be pushing it.
You guys have been operating for a while, correct?
When we first started this, we had no idea the process of what this took.
A complicated process.
Yes, and we did go about it the wrong way, and we corrected that. Started asking questions, and then we opened up this door of, okay, this is what we need to do. So it's been an ongoing process for sure, for a very long time, yeah.
And I see that you guys started this venue because when you got married, is that right?
Correct, yes, I was the instigator, I guess.
Good deal.
Questions?
I mean, I think I'm still in the same place. I would be prepared to give it approval upon condition of the, sorry, Steve, help me. What am I, it's the occupancy. The occupancy permit. And then you'd have a conversation with your contractors to say, okay, you got till the 24th. And it's not a wonderful position to be in, I understand that, but I'd rather give you the opportunity to succeed than not.
Well, I'd be totally supportive of that as well, Sean, because sometimes people's experience with government is that they feel like they're getting the runaround.
Right.
And we don't want to create more of the runaround. We want to create more at least I want our local government to create opportunities. And we want to help you make this happen, not find ways to prohibit you from it.
We also have others to hear from. Did you have something to add?
Yes, just briefly, if the board will consider the Class C permit, I'd like to get maybe Steve to weigh back in on that. And I believe Justin Daniel is here from the Health Department too with some comments.
Yeah,
and I know we're kind of all just going, out of turn, but whenever the board would like.
Thank you, thank you. If there are no more questions for the applicant, we could move on to a couple of other testimonies, and we could give you an opportunity to respond then before we're done. Thank you. And you'll need to state your name, swear in, and sign in.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, answer I do.
I do.
And please sign in and state your name for the record.
Good morning. My name's Justin Daniel. I supervise the food safety program with the Lincoln Lancaster County Health Department. And it's common practice that the health department verifies that food establishments meet the requirements of the Nebraska Food Code for any establishments that's providing liquor prior to approving their liquor permit. So in working with my staff, the shed did provide plans to the health department that we did approve on June 2nd. And that was to install a hand wash sink at their bar for their bar service. And so the plans were approved June 2nd, but we are still waiting for a request for an on-site visit to verify that the sink has been installed and functioning properly. So as soon as we hear from the shed, we'll get staff out there to verify that the facility's meeting requirements, and so we can issue a food establishment permit for them.
So the issue is a sink?
A hand wash sink, yes, at the bar.
As well as
We
the
should absolutely approve this.
restrooms. So it's the hand wash sink and the restrooms.
Yeah.
That's not what he said.
That are
He
not.
said sink.
No, that's not.
No, it
his
is not
part.
the same. This is a hand wash sink at the bar for staff,
That's his
as
portion.
well as the bathrooms that were referred to earlier. Thank you for that information.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else to speak?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you again. Thank you.
Yes, that's part of the reason we wanted to make it clear that a Class C license wasn't appropriate, is specifically that type of an operation where you sell alcohol to people who then leave the site with it is not what they are approved for. So specifically, if a party bus pulls up and selling them of alcohol is not allowed under the zoning.
Right.
Their zoning is allowing for the alcohol on the premise as part of the party and not to branch off into selling alcohol that is then solely for the purpose of being taken off the site.
Right.
Can you talk just a little bit about sort of generally the differences between a Class I and a Class C?
Well, I'm not the expert, but
Fair.
basically the off-premise part is the main part. I think what you can sell is the same between the C and the I, but the I allows it to be off-premise. And so, and this is not the first time that it's come up as
Class C.
The C allows it to be off-premise, right?
Yes.
Yes,
That's
Class
right.
I would
I
be
had it backwards.
on-site.
Thank you.
Yep, scratch it,
So
reverse
the
it, I
C
get it.
is the off-premise, the I is what we're recommending, which is just on-premise only. And again, we have had circumstances where we have had a winery that was operating and making less and less wine and became interested in having the Class C license so they could operate more as a bar. And we were saying, well, no, a bar, as we might use the term, and a winery are two different things. Yes, they're both in the alcohol business, but a winery is much fewer hours of operation, much less late hours of operation, versus a bar which might be open all night, every day of the week. Two very different land use impacts, and so per the zoning ordinance, those are two different kinds of approval. And so this only has approval for on-premise, so the I is what was appropriate.
And Steve, yeah, you said that perfectly. The term the Liquor Act references is on sale and off sale, and it's the same exact thing. On sale, alcohol can be consumed on the premise. Off sale can be taken off, and the Class C would include off sale. Class I would not.
I mean, well, note, building and safety, so yes, the building and safety building permit would include the sink, but it also includes bathrooms and any other life, health, safety code items. And in talking to them late at the end of last week, they're in the same circumstance. It didn't, they have not been notified that the work is done. Doesn't sound like the work will be done till the end of July. Once they are notified that the work is done, then they can go ahead and schedule people to come out and do any inspections, see if everything's in proper order. If something is missing, of course, then you might have to have the contractor come back out and fix any last items. So it sounds like it may be not within this month that it'll happen. But that's what we had heard from Building and Safety last week.
This is really before the 24th. This is the last day that we could hear this. And so we do have to make a decision.
Yeah.
We can't.
I mean, I think I'm in the
Check the
same
calendar.
place. Based on staff's approval, I'm still inclined to go with, or staff's indication, I'm still inclined to go with approval of a Class I, contingent upon, completing the health department inspection and passing, and completing the requirements of the occupancy permit. At least give them, they got the applicant has 15 days then to
And
gives them
there's-
an opportunity to succeed.
And there's 2 weekends involved in that, too.
Yeah.
Okay, I do have a question. If they do not get that finished, and if we do give the contingent approval, would they have to go through then and apply again for another 60 days?
They would, Commissioner, and I believe the application fee is $100.
Do you mind coming to the mic? Sorry.
Yes, Commissioner, my understanding is they would have to reapply, and there is a $400 application fee that goes with that. I'm not sure if we would do anything to the fee, but yes.
Is it our fee or is it?
I believe it's the Liquor Commission's
Yeah, we
fee,
can't do that.
and maybe the
We can't do
clerk,
that.
Yeah, we can't do
but
anything.
I believe it's, charged by the Liquor
We would
Commission.
have no jurisdiction over that.
Is this actually on the other? It is on the agenda.
Yeah.
Kind of feel like we're walking a little bit out of public hearing right now into.
You're probably
I
right.
was
Discussion of new
actually going
business.
to ask the applicant if she had anything that she'd like to add here before we close the public hearing.
Yeah, I would like to point out, so Class C, Pioneer Barn and Roca, they do have a Class C liquor license. In another wedding event venue, Countryside Event Center, they have a Class C as well. same idea of what we're trying to go for. I mean, this is only Saturdays. We're not a bar. We're not related to a bar. I mean, this is Saturday only. Maybe occasional Friday. That's our intent. We're not going to be open during the week till 2 a.m. Our cutoff time is midnight. I mean, this is it. It's not going to be ran like a bar.
Can somebody else verify, is that true? These other places have the Class C from staff?
I confirmed it with the Liquor Control Commission.
Roca is in the Roca zoning jurisdiction.
Okay.
And so in Roca's jurisdiction, if a bar was zoned B, for instance, Roca has a B business zoning, a bar in a business zoning district can have an on and off premise. The same as in the city of Lincoln or anywhere else you have commercial zoning that allows a bar, you can have on and off premise. This is AG agricultural zoning, which does not allow for off premise, rather that is 1 day or 2 days a week. The zoning does not allow off premise alcohol sales. So I don't know about the other wedding venue. To our information, there wasn't another wedding venue that had a off premise license.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
You said though that it is on the liquor license site. What was the other one that you had said that had the Class C, just so I could be clear?
Countryside Event Center.
Okay.
If there are no further questions, we will now close the public hearing.
Item 6, new business, request under Personnel Rule 17.14 for a one-time cash award of $500 to Jacob Hani.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 6B, resolution in the matter of applications for a Class C liquor license for the Shed Wedding Venue LLC and a corporate manager's liquor license for Courtney Dismeyer.
Move approval of B.
Would you be open to a friendly amendment on that one? Or are you just doing a straight approval?
Well, I mean, tell me what you're thinking.
So, like, I'm good for a Class I because
It's
I
Class I.
don't think we have any
We don't have the
Class Cs in county AGR zoning, and I don't want to. If we're going to start making that change, that's a conversation we could have. We can talk about, but that's going to be a larger text amendment issue, and I just think so. I would be in favor of a Class I, contingent upon the occupancy permit and a successful Department of Health, inspection of the sink. Or I'm not phrasing that well, but you understand what I'm saying.
Sure.
So can we have a clean motion?
just doing real, I mean, first of all, I would move approval. So I don't feel like we're at a place where we can actually discuss because of Robert's Rules of Order. We need to have a motion on the floor and a second. I'll move approval of a Class I license pending the occupancy permit.
Second.
I would like to have a discussion though, because she does make a good point. If you go to Countryside Event Center, it actually says right on their Countryside bar. According to the map, it does not appear to be anywhere close to another town whose rules would be falling into place, so that does
Where is
feel-
this located, Countryside Event?
According to this, oh wait,
We have Mr. Hendrickson's got some information for us here.
It's Beatrice.
Countryside Event Center is located west of Beatrice in
Oh,
Gage
it's not
County.
Lancaster
It
County.
is not in our county.
Yeah. So we have a motion, we have a second. I
You
am,
need to repeat the motion just so.
I think we're all clear on it.
we have a motion to approve.
a motion, we don't have a second.
Yeah.
Yeah,
makes
I
sense.
did
We do, from
Yeah.
Commissioner Vest.
Rick did second it, and Commissioner Best, you seconded. And I would note, I believe that motion did exclude the contingency portion on the health department giving the okay with the sink installation. I'm sorry, I just missed it. It either included the building and safety piece, the occupancy permit, or the health department.
I
sink
said
installation.
occupancy permit.
Okay,
is what I
so
said
just that. Okay.
intended in the
Right.
So then I would make I would motion to amend Commissioner Schulte's motion to include contingents upon the health department inspection as well.
And that is a fair amendment, Commissioner Flowerday. I think, though, that since there is a motion and a second, we should vote on that first motion, and then
We can't. Because my reason a second was to get it on the table, as Matt
Right.
pointed
I
out.
want to
We
have
wanted
further
this
That's not
discussion.
usually how that works. Usually,
You can make an amendment.
yeah,
to
you
a
can
motion.
make an
We
amendment.
should be able to make the amendment,
Okay.
vote on the
I-
amendment,
yeah.
and then come back to the original,
all right.
right?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry if I'm not exactly
Yeah.
clear on that percentage.
It's all right. We're always
piece.
good
Yeah.
at making mud up here.
Don't.
So now, Madam Clerk, if you've got this information, we have an amendment.
And I motion to amend Commissioner Schulte's motion to include a contingency based upon the a passage of an inspection by the health department for the sink.
And I'll
And
second,
and we
and I'll
have-
second that.
Okay, and now we have,
Different than the occupancy commit?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, those are two different
Yes.
things.
so now we can have discussion, or do we have, is there any discussion on the amendment itself? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yeah.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, now we are back to the original motion as amended. And is there discussion on that?
So let's be clear on what that is.
It's a motion to approve a Class I license pending the now health permit and occupancy
Yep.
permit.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
That's my understanding too.
So I'm inclined to vote to oppose this because this has been a very long process and we've not had a lot of progress being made on this. And so I'm not really confident that it will be done in time.
If
And
we-
it pains me to say that, but this has been a long process.
For who? I'm just trying to clarify what you're talking about.
Well, this has been before us for a long time. They were operating actually without having this completed, and so this is, to get into compliance has been a long time.
And
So you want to oppose helping them get into compliance?
I think
I'm-
that's putting words in her mouth.
That is absolutely putting words in my mouth, and I'm
But it's
talking
pointing
more.
out the action that
I am
results.
talking more about the process. Yeah.
and I think, I hear what you're saying. I think fundamentally, gives them 13 days to get there. If they can get there in 13 days, give them the opportunity. That's where I'm at.
I'm just gonna say, Sean, I agree with that. The window is open.
Yeah.
If they can meet it in this time frame, then bless them, go forward and get the inspections they need, and we can be out of it. If they can't,
And we'll be back.
Yeah.
And we'll be back.
that's the same as saying no today. in
Right,
fact.
right.
That's my
I mean, I don't know if the contractor, I don't think contractors are hard to, I mean.
Contractors are
Getting a contractor to
contractors.
do anything in 13 days is difficult. It gives you a chance.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you have
I
a
think
weekend,
you've
you have a
opened the
couple of
door.
weekends in there too.
You and Matt have opened the door for that opportunity.
Okay. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next item, item 6C, resolution in the matter of witness fees paid by Lancaster County which have remained unclaimed for 6 months or more.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. I see no further discussion. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 6D, resolution in the matter of authorizing the county board chair, vice chair to sign the program agreement with Nebraska Department of Transportation, setting out various duties and funding responsibilities for the federal aid project at South 68th Street, Hickman to Roca Road.
Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. This item and the item that precedes it is another federal aid contract, and in regards to South 68th Street, and we're referring to this in the office as the North-South project, right? So this is the 1.5 miles that is north of the city of Hickman to Roca Road. There are no shoulders on this part of the road. It's a very narrow section. It's more of the same story that I've told you time and time again with Lancaster County roads. And in the case of this road, like in the case of several other federal aid projects, hey, we're telling the federal government, we're going to give you 20 cents and you're going to give us $1. It did take our office and our staff a little while to get here. What our goal is to be able to construct improvements to 68th Street all at one time. I don't know if we can really make that goal and get this project caught up with the other one. Nevertheless, we're going to give it our best effort, and so we're excited to have the opportunity to get shoulders on the entire length of South 68th Street from Roca Road all the way to Firth. And you can see the 1.5 miles north of the village, or the city of Hickman, as shown on the map.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve.
This is obviously in my district and very much needed. That 68th Street has long been an issue, and so any improvements there are a great step in the right direction.
Agreed. I was
Yeah.
driving down this way not just a week ago, and
Yeah, this is,
it'll be a welcome
the
addition.
safety will be good.
I do have a question about, I always will get asked about timing. So what does that look like on this project? Do we know?
You know, it's pretty early on yet. Our goal would be FY 25, FY 26.
Okay.
That, of course, is the federal fiscal year, not Lancaster County's fiscal year, which starts October 1st. And so when we deal with the federal government, we follow their system. They don't follow us. So that's kind of where we're falling in right now. We may come back to the board, again, it's a $1.5 million project, and ask to do advanced construction. In other words, we would do the construction in advance of being able to get the money from the feds, and then when we got into that federal fiscal year, we would be reimbursed for that.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next item is item 6E, program agreement with the Nebraska Department of Transportation for use of federal highway safety improvement funds and surface transportation block grant funds for shoulder widening at South 68th Street, Hickman to Roca Road. The total cost of the project is currently estimated to be $1,539,900. The estimated Lancaster County share is $307,980.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I see no further discussion.
Actually, I do
Oh,
just have a question on, so again, this is similar, it's down the road a couple of years. I guess my comment on this is, as we're accepting these federal aid projects, we do need to be thinking as a board about setting money aside and knowing that, hey, in 2 or 3 years, we're gonna have to pay this portion, because we're not setting aside these dollars today, so.
I think we actually maybe are, but we're going to be talking about that.
And we're going to be
A little
talking
bit
about
more in
that
our
today.
hearings.
Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah.
Yep.
And this process, that process, you're absolutely right, and that process actually started last year when Pam began acquiring these contracts.
Right.
So,
Right.
good point.
I think the conversation started the year before that even, but yeah.
The more she gets, the more we have
Well.
to set aside.
It is a substantial amount of federal aid that we currently are working on. It's
Right.
game-changing for all of Lancaster County.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And thank you for that.
We're very proud of that in the county
Yeah.
engineering department.
Should be.
Makes a difference. Thank you. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next item is item 6F, contract with Pavers Incorporated to provide North 98th Street grading and paving. The cost of the county is not to exceed $1,234,917.73.
Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. This is for the grading and paving of 98th Street from Adams to Holdridge. I spoke to you many times about this corridor. It has an extraordinary amount of traffic on it. It's kind of the cut-through traffic of people trying to get to the school or get to some of the commercial properties on 84th Street. And so we are proposing, we really wanted to be able to get in and grade that this current construction year and pave it next year. However, when the long-eared brown bat was declared endangered, we weren't able to do that. We have extensive tree removal in the corridor to do. And so November 1st, we will start with that tree removal, and then we're going to go in and get this project done in one season. It's a push, but it's what needs to happen for the people that live in this corridor. It's shown on this map. This will give a really good connection along the urban fringe.
And construction will still be next year then, Pam, even
Well,
though it's compressed?
So what we'll do, Commissioner Vest, is once we get to November 1st, we will only be allowed to remove those large trees in that corridor by the new federal law between November 1st and April 1st. So at some time, we will start and make sure all those trees are down so we can do the construction next year.
Okay, so that is.
And then we'll continue on.
Move approval.
Oh,
Second.
yeah, there's that.
We have a motion and a second to approve.
Can make a third.
I see no further
Dude,
discussion.
we try
Please
all the
call the
time.
roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next item is item 6G, contract with Volkscapes Incorporated to provide replacement of county bridges R-184 and S-180. The cost of the county is not to exceed $2,321,728.50.
Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. This is really the continuation of a tale of three bridges. The first, which failed in 2019. The second, which failed a little over a year ago on Roca Road. There is actually a third. The third bridge is the one I would have expected to fail first. When they get very close, sometimes they become extraordinarily unpredictable. That being said, these two structures will be converted into box culverts. We have completed all the things necessary, but for what we are struggling with to get our Army Corps of Engineers permit for this project. It has been submitted for a very long period of time, and we continue to negotiate with the Corps to try to get this one across the finish line.
Move approval.
Yeah, second.
Is there anything we can do to help you get the Army Corps of Engineers moving?
It's a good question, Commissioner Schulte. You know, we call them on a regular basis. I have repeatedly been told it's working through the process. And just so you know, my concern as a county engineer is we have this corridor that's closed, and every day we tick closer to winter. And I know it's July, so it's hard to talk about winter, but it'll be here before we know it. Every day we tick closer, we have an additional chance of not getting this open before winter. This is a major school route, it's a major transit route, and then I will say, in southern Lancaster County, our residents have construction fatigue. They have just had enough of the continuous road closures and detours for the last 3 years, and yeah, I continue to let the Corps know that this is urgent.
I see no further discussion. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next item is item 6H, special event permit application from Gravel World's Gravel Adventures LLC for a bicycle ride and ultra run event to be held August 25th to 26th, 2023 from 5 o'clock a.m. to 12 o'clock a.m.
Good morning.
Hello. Thanks for welcoming me back. Back for our 14th year here in Lancaster. So some updates for the event this year. Actually, going back to last year, the city tourism, so not us, did a economic impact, and last year they estimated $5 to $6 million of local revenue impact from our event, which is awesome to hear. Love that. Which obviously trickles down way outside of event. I would love that to all be in my pocket, but it goes to hotels and bands and restaurants and porta potties, all that stuff. So
No, that's just about a home game.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Really?
Close,
Seriously,
yeah.
that's really close. That's really close to the economic impact of one home game.
All right. I'll
Yeah, use it.
I'll use that for sure. All right. Well, that's really cool to see. This year, we are going to be down just a little bit as far as participants. There's 3 other major races our weekend this year, which is unfortunate. But you know, we're still in a really good spot, over where we were already in 2021. So last year was a really great year. So this year will still be a very good year, but we still have 47 states, 10 countries representing. as well as 2 U.S. territories. We've already committed $15,000 in donations. A big portion of that is going to go to the Lincoln Parks Foundation. We've also committed $2 per cyclist that'll go to a scholarship to help kids here in Lancaster County, working with our NICA team, which is, since there's not a like football, basketball type sports, NICA is a national governing body for kids cycling. So we have a $2 per rider donation, which hopefully will help upwards of 10 kids that couldn't afford cycling, which includes like all their equipment, bike, helmet, as well as travel costs to help their families that would never be able to afford getting into cycling because it is a very expensive sport. So we're doing that. Also, it allows us to do, we're doing a camp in 2 weeks with a nonprofit called Adventure for All at Antelope Park, where we're helping 7 children with autism and Down syndrome learn to ride a bike for the first time. So hopefully continue doing that. As well. We also expanded our running. So last year we added the running aspect of it. We added a 25K and a 10K this year. So to get even more runners involved. And we'll have live music Thursday, Friday, and Saturday out there. So it's going to be a big event. Everybody, the whole community is invited for sure. I know there's a big air show that everybody's talking about that same weekend, but planes are flying over for us, I think. So also this year,
That'd be pretty cool to be out there and to see those planes.
Yeah, we're ending right on First Street, north of where we're sending everybody in, so they'll be able to watch the air show for the last 5-6 miles of our race. So it'll be pretty cool.
Nice.
Also, I wanted to give a shout out to the county engineers this year, especially. I'm pretty sure from the infrastructure bill nationally has helped the county working on a lot of projects, which affects us because we use those county roads. So a huge shout out to John, Doug, and Jack, who've been working a lot to make sure the roads that we are using will be usable for our weekend. We still have some unknowns, but working with them a lot more than normal this year, which means there's a lot of projects helping our roads out. So really excited.
Great. We're glad to have you back.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I love your
questions?
enthusiasm.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion or questions? Please call the roll.
Way to go, man.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll see you next year for year 15.
Item 6I, agreement with Hub International Great Plains LLC to provide employee benefits consulting services for the county's employee benefits programs. The county will pay $29,998.80 in year 1, $31,827.60 in year 2, $32,781.60 in year 3, $33,764.40 in year 4, and $34,776 in year 5.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. I see no further discussion. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 6J, agreement between the Mental Health Crisis Center and Union College to provide educational training opportunities to nursing program students. There is no cost to the county.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 6K, agreement with Educational Service Unit 18 for ESU 18 to provide educational services to youth detained at the Youth Services Center. The cost of the county is $967,620.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Do I see any, is there any conversation?
I guess I just have a question. I'm just reading the contract and I see the dollar amount. I see a chunk for salaries. Do we know how many staff this is? I mean, obviously does this ever fluctuate in the number of people that they're hiring for this?
I don't think it's changed a lot. It's
That same ballpark.
It's been about the same.
3 or 4 staff total, I think, right?
I don't know how many staff, but I do
don't
know
remember.
that the amount is.
$650,000 in salaries, so
Mhm.
nobody from the Youth Services Center here.
Yeah, I don't have the answer specifically to those questions. But again, it has been in the same
Yeah.
It's
it
been the
has.
same
I
amount.
I mean, I've visited this school specifically because of my previous role in the school board as well, and I think it's supportive. It feels like a lot of staff for a very small group of kids that we have out there right now. That's why I'm curious.
I see no further discussion. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Item carries 5-0. Item 6L, Memorandum of Understanding with Mentoring Plus to provide programming to youth at the Youth Services Center on topics such as strength finders, social and emotional learning, and spiritual connections. There is no cost to the county.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 6M, Agreement with the State of Nebraska Department of Transportation for the provision of transportation services for the Lancaster County Public Rural Transit Program. The cost of the county shall be any remaining eligible costs not paid by federal and state funds and shall not exceed $59,876.
Move approval.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 6N, grant contract with El Centro de las Americas for the Community Assistance Specialist Program in the amount of $30,900.
I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yocum.
I will abstain as I serve on their board.
Motion carries 4-0 with one abstention. Item 6O, building use agreement with Tomas and Reza Helikar for property located on Lot 3, Block 2, Bronco Hills Estates Edition, Lancaster County, Nebraska.
Good morning. This is an agreement with a husband and wife who built a house that has a large hallway, I believe, on the second floor, and it connects to what could be a future living space. And this is just an agreement to make sure that the property is used continuously as a single-family dwelling.
I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 6P, amendment to C-08-0663 and C-08-0664, Administrative Services Agreement with Empower Annuity Insurance Company, formerly known as Prudential Retirement Insurance Annuity Company, for Lancaster County, Nebraska Employees Retirement Plan and Lancaster County, Nebraska 457 Deferred Compensation Plan, including agreements with Millennium Trust Company for automatic rollover services and related amendments thereto.
We do have someone here from Empower to address this issue with us, zooming in remotely.
Good morning, Commissioners. Can you hear me okay?
We hear you just great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I can hear you very well as well. Appreciate the time on your calendar. Again, I'm Julie Clausen, Relationship Manager for Empower, formerly Prudential Retirement Insurance and Annuity Company, known as Prudential Retirement as your prior provider. As you recall, I've addressed the board in the past, and we were acquired by Empower on April 1 of 2022. So the purpose of these agreements is to memorialize some things that do not change and a few enhancements that are addressed in the packet. I spent some good time with Mr. Durbin fine-tuning the agreement package for some clarifications that he had requested. The document also states that fees, products, services essentially are the same. There are some changes with regard to Goalmaker in terms of enhancements and some clarification around Income Flex, which is the guaranteed stream of income option within the Goalmaker program. The document can be perceived as a little lengthy. It does include a document for optional services, which may or may not be included in our service agreement now, which is My Total Retirement, a managed account optional provision. There's also a document with respect to Millennium, which is for small balance cash outs, for auto rollovers, for cash outs between $1,000 and $5,000. There's not a lot. There's a sort of a de minimis number of impacts there. The agreement also covers important aspects of record keeping, such as data security, business continuity, privacy, etc. Other things do not change. I should mention that the trust company is formerly known as Prudential Bank and Trust is now Empower Trust Company. And I can move right into the purpose of the addendum agreements as well, if you'd like. Otherwise, I'll pause there, knowing that that's a separate agenda item, and open it to any question that you all may have.
I see none.
I would move approval of the amendment.
We have a motion to approve, and we have a second by Commissioner Flowerday. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next item is record-keeping services addenda for Lancaster County, Nebraska Employees Retirement Plan, and Lancaster County, Nebraska 457 Deferred Compensation Plan.
And again, we welcome Julie Clausen for.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to address the item. There are just a few additional items that our contract administrator felt that it was important to provide an addenda to the supplemental agreement package. One is in the area of Goalmaker, because Goalmaker, the asset allocation program, is a default option for Lancaster County plans. Some further clarification was needed from a document standpoint. And then also to clarify that although income flex remains in the county plans, it will sit a part of the Goalmaker framework or structure. So participants would affirmatively elect to continue the income flex within the plan. And we intend to send notices shortly, 30 to 60 days prior to the migration, which is slated for mid-September. So that's the Goalmaker item. I'll pause right there for any reaction and then go into the other two that are mentioned, if that's of pleasure to the board.
Or concerns from the board?
Okay, thank you very much. The other item of clarification was rebalance frequency for fund of funds. And that again is with respect to the income flex. We use what we call dynamic trade allocation, so inflows and outflows to meet target weightings of the underlying portfolios of that option. So that's actually done daily, but a more formalized all-in rebalancing will be quarterly. So we wanted to call that out on the addendum packet. And then upon further review of our pension consulting, our compliance associate with respect to parity, there's no impact, there's no change on the parity with regard to the Lancaster County programs. And that has to do with folks that have a break in service and whether or not those prior services would count. There's no change under the current administration because essentially all your employees would have vesting with the, not to be so technical, but the 414H employer pickup portion of the contribution on the 401A. So upon further review, that there's no real application for parity in that agreement addendum. So you may disregard that. I believe that covers the addendum items, and I pause for any other question that you might have for me.
I see no questions from the board. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time today.
Move approval.
Thank you.
Move approval of the addenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the record-keeping services addenda. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Have a
Next
great-
item is item 6R, agreement with Baylor Evnen PC to provide professional legal services to Lancaster County.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
I'm sorry, which item is
Item
it?
R.
are no.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1. Next item is item 7, public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to county business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
I'm going to make a short announcement here. I want to be sure that everyone that does speak on public comment signs in and states your name. We've not caught everyone that way in the past. And then we do have this new timer, so let's keep an eye on the timer.
Got my own timer too. Commissioners, Robert Bohr. I just finished reading a book yesterday by Navy Commander Robert Greene. He commanded a $1 billion warship. He was kicked out of the Navy on January 7th, 2022 for staying true to his oath and looking out for the God-given and constitutional rights of his sailors. Nevertheless, he, and many like him, stand ready to defend this country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Needless to say, the U.S. has enemies. Those enemies have infiltrated our government and taken over all aspects of our all-important elections by privatizing and corporatizing them. The only exception, of course, is filling in the ovals, which mean nothing if they're not counted honestly. In other words, they have taken our all-important elections away from the public to whom they belong. Of course, our enemies could not have done this without lots of internal useful idiots, sellouts, and collaborators, also known as traitors. We can tell who many of the traitors are because they had to take an oath to get where they're at, and then they turned around and betrayed it. They have refused to stand up for the God-given rights of the people, which our founders said was the sole reason governments are instituted. Hand-counted elections by citizens at the precinct level are way safer for everyone. Depriving the people of their voice through fair, honest, transparent, and verifiable elections is a violation of the Constitution and oath of office, and is doing the same thing to the people that King George did to the people of the colonies. We know where that went. We don't want to go there if we can help it. There are better ways to resolve it, to resolve this crisis, but it takes willing parties. All it takes is a little courage and faithfulness to your oath. Doing otherwise makes you enemies of the people. Robert Evnen is not a servant of the people. He is a dictator serving private, corporate, big money interests. The big question is, what is he and his large law firm getting in return? No one of his demeanor and arrogance leaves a 6-figure job or more for a 5-figure one without a big personal takeaway. Robert Evnen is part of a U.S. global leadership coalition. This coalition is a main way organizations like the World Economic Forum, the Foreign on Foreign Relations, and others flex their muscle in Nebraska. You don't get on this list by accident. The National Advisory Council for the coalition is jammed full of globalists. We, the people here that are with me, and many others outside this chamber, across this state and across this nation. This is a war that's going on across the nation. This is not an isolated situation in Nebraska. This is going on in every state in the union. Every state and every county, save maybe one or two. Denying the people free, fair, honest, transparent, verifiable elections. I have 1 minute left. My final statement is this. We are not going to allow our grandkids, and I've got a third one coming up within the next 2 weeks. We are not going to allow our grandkids to grow up under communism and dictators like Baird and Evnen. Thank you for your time.
Amber Parker.
I'm going to stop you and ask you to please sign in too. Thank you.
So my time restarts now then?
Yep,
Yes.
hasn't started
Okay.
yet.
I come before you today. You guys are without excuse. You have been told that the elections and the process that is running, that these machines have capability, the votes can be flipped. Not only that, but there are components made in these machines from another country, and the people in the state cannot know if there was even hacking or modems found in them in the testing results due to the non-disclosure agreement. Secretary of State Evnen is acting like he's King George over the state of Nebraska. I want to bring your attention to the voluntary voting systems guidelines. The official website of the United States government is an agency of the United States Department of Commerce, which is the National Institute of Standards and Technology. Interesting. I don't know if this made the final cut, but it was on there. All systems shall maintain the integrity of voting and audit data, including cast vote records, during an election and for a period of at least 22 months afterwards. I am telling you that when it comes to another country or countries trying to steal American elections and people are helping aid in that, it's treason. You have the choice to be on the side of treason or to stand up to save our republic. This is serious. Our military will protect us from foreign and domestic enemies, and as well, you guys had taken an oath to protect the people from foreign and domestic enemies. But instead, you gave the election county commissioner who refused cast vote records, you gave him an award. And now I want to bring to your attention, I first want to say thank you to Commissioner Schulte. He's the only one that had handed me anything here. He reached out to the new election county commissioner in Lancaster County, Todd Wilkin. And Todd Wilkin is without excuse. Todd Wilkin says, Commissioner Schulte, as we previously discussed, Nebraska public records laws do not require me to create documents which do not otherwise exist. A cast vote record, CVR, is not something I generate, nor has the Nebraska Secretary of State provided instructions on generating it. Even if I were to generate a cast vote record, CVR, Nebraska Revised Statute 32-1032 would prohibit me from disclosing it. I suggest you consult with the county attorney's office for additional legal advice. Well, I want to bring the Secretary of State to Article 1, Section 22. The people are in the dark about the elections. Our elections have been taken away from us, and there is bullying happening from the Secretary of State's office on this. I hold before me an affidavit. This affidavit says that the second of the two meetings where citizens requested to return hand-counted ballots occurred the 13th of September 2022. At this meeting, I did witness our county clerk, David Dowling, state that he had previously reached out to the Nebraska Secretary of State for permission to hand count an upcoming small school bond election as it would be easier, quicker, and cheaper to do so. Dave Dowling stated that the Secretary of State's office responded by saying, if you hand count that election, Cedar County will potentially be sued, and the county clerk and county commissioners will be removed from office, and the state will appoint replacements. It was recommended at this meeting that we, the people, not request another hearing at the commissioners' meetings in regards to this topic. You guys need to hold the Secretary of State responsible. You are without excuse. These machines have been proven to flip votes, and you know we're underneath the non-disclosure, and we haven't even talked about the certificate. These machines come standard with the connectivity to internet. We know. And I can't remember if it was the Department of Defense or the Homeland Security, but the foundation of what we're running our elections here in the state of Nebraska, they won't even use because it is able to be hacked into. You have people coming. And I'm wearing this hat because I see the intimidation. I see the fascism. And we are in the United States of America. And we shouldn't be getting looks and determination. It shouldn't matter what our candidates' names are if they're abiding by the Constitution of the United States of America, not committing treason against the American people. What matters is you guys are no longer in the dark. And I want to bring to your attention, on the very government website, an agency of the United States Department of Commerce, National Institute of Standards and Technology, it has the words voluntary voting system guidelines. You're not giving us voluntary system guidelines. Secretary of State is not giving us voluntary system guidelines.
That is your time. Thank you.
Victoria Reese. I'd like to state that I am a professional mom and I count cookies. When I come home and I ask my loving family, my trusted family, what happened to the cookies? My response is often, what cookies? When we received this email saying that a cast vote record is not something that our Lancaster County Election Commissioner can provide, and that we have elected our state representatives and our state government, and that they cannot verify a cast vote record, is similar to saying, what cookies? I'd like you to look at Nebraska Statute 32901. It clearly allows paper ballots and manual counting. It is not only an option, it is the first option. 32-901, ballot voting procedure. Number 1, to vote for a candidate or on a ballot question using a paper ballot that is to be manually counted. The registered voter shall make a cross or other clear, discernible mark in the square opposite the name of every candidate, including write-in candidates, for whom he or she desires to vote, and in the case of a ballot question, oppose opposite the answer he or she wishes to give, making a cross or other clear, discernible mark in the square constitutes a valid vote. We're asking that you to provide 32901 and have manually counted votes. There are several statutes in Election Act, Chapter 32, which have the option of paper ballots and or manual counting, explicitly stated in the law. Nebraska Law 32-203 clearly defines the state Secretary of State's responsibilities over Nebraska election. Notice the word may, which is different from shall, will, or must. The Secretary of State powers, in addition to any, and that's in 32-203, in addition to any other powers prescribed by law, the Secretary of State may adopt the rules and regulations in regard to the registration of voters and the conduct of elections, and enforce the acts of injuncture by action brought by the county general and the district court for the county in which any violation of act occurs. Source: laws 1994, LB 7, section 23, laws in 2005, LB 5-6, and section 4. Again, we ask that our ballots be manually counted per Nebraska Statute 32-09. Thank you. Oh, are there any questions?
Not allowed.
George Omer, Lincoln, Nebraska. the Nebraska Secretary of State has granted the federal government essentially full access to county election systems through surveillance devices called Albert sensors, provided by a private nonprofit called Center for Internal Security, CIS. CIS is a main player in the censorship scheme carried out by our own federal government. Democrat nonprofits, big tech, and state election officials to silence Americans' concerns about the 2020 election. In 2018, the agency under the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, called the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, C-I-S-A, partnered with CIS to provide cybersecurity services for state election entities. DHS began to pressure state and local election officials to install Albert sensors in their networks so they may be monitored 365 days a year by the federal government. Our Secretary of State jumped on board with the Albert Sensor program almost as soon as it was launched by signing a memorandum agreement with CIS. As part of the agreement, our Secretary of State was required to give CIS a complete network diagram of Nebraska's election systems, internet access to managed devices, a complete list of IP addresses of county computers, a list of servers, and other information. In return, CIS claimed they would monitor traffic going into and out of Nebraska's election networks and employ an intrusion detection system to detect security threats. Most, if not all, states have since followed Evan's lead and installed Albert sensors on their election networks. The MOA requires the entity accepting its services to provide notice to its employees and contractors that they have no reasonable expectation of privacy regarding communications or data transiting stored on or traveling to or from the Secretary of State and the county. Information systems on those systems and any communications or information systems may be monitored, disclosed, or used by any lawful government for any government purpose, except from excerpt from MOA between CIS and NE as Secretary of State, ceding all expectations of privacy on Nebraska election networks. Counties may not be aware that their networks are being monitored 24/7 by the federal government. This is a shocking revelation. Prior to the 2016 election, the Department of Health and Human Services drew the dismay of then Secretary of State of Georgia for attempting to hack into his election system without permission or warning shortly after the 2016 general election. Such a hack violated 18 U.S.C. 1030, which makes attempting to gain access to protected computer systems illegal. If the DHS would attempt to illegally hack into a state's election system, why should anyone trust them to have their hands in election networks all over the country? Recent occurrences in Washington state suggest Albert sensors don't even work as advertised. 2 counties in Washington were both victims of cyber attacks after the installation of their Albert sensors, but CIS failed to detect the hacks or alert the counties. Lincoln County cancels its contract with CIS as a result and inspired nearby Farragut County to cancel theirs as well. What seemed like a reasonable course of action to the county commissioners in these counties based on the failures of CIS's service to alert them of a serious intrusion caused state-sponsored media, NPR, to conduct a national smear campaign against tiny Ferry County, with an article and audio report branding the Ferry County commissioners as misinformation spreading election deniers. Further, we are constantly told that our elections are secure and not exposed to the internet.
Sorry, that's spent your time, sir.
I would like to finish one last sentence.
Just
And
a
why is the federal government, some election officials, and state-sponsored media so worried about a tiny county who decided to ditch Albert's censors?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Connie Ranke from Lancaster County. George Redd, the hack, violated 18 U.S.C. 1030, which makes attempting to gain access to protected computer systems illegal. We're told our election systems are secure. And then we find out information that it's constantly on the internet. I'm going to show a graphic that describes the players in a scheme between government, big tech, Democrat organizations, and election officials to outright violate the First Amendment rights of Americans when it comes to our elections. The COVID response and the information on Hunter Biden's laptop, the president of the so-called president of the United States. All these entities I'll show you were responsible for bringing us these Albert sensors that constantly connect us to the internet. And the Secretary of State is a member of this group. So why were certain sectors of the government involved? Here you can see an organization, JIRA, and the connections to social media companies, CISA, cybersecurity infrastructure, IEP, CIS, which we were talking about, which the Albert sensors are a part of, and the National Association of Secretary of States and National Association of State Election Directors. All these organizations are part of this censoring that was done. Until the 2020 election, there has never been widespread questioning of the results of the U.S. election or widely held concerns over election systems themselves. So why were certain sectors of the government, the Democrat Party, election officials, and biased social media platforms anticipating the need to crush open discussion of the multitude of anomalies and illegal actions that occurred during the 2020 election? Why were those same entities busy setting up Albert sensors in as many counties as possible between 2016 and 2020 elections to give Department of Homeland Security the ability to see the entire landscape of what's happening in cyberspace at our county election office? It's almost as if they knew millions of people were going to question the outcome of the 2020 election, and they had to be prepared to shut it down through name-calling, public shaming, and censorship. Albert sensors failed to alert counties of the real harmful intrusions. The Lancaster election budget includes costs per ballot processing, coding, programming software to read ballots in scanners. We do not want funds allocated for these election machines that are continually monitored by the internet. We also understand that the voter registration database in Nebraska is not controlled by the county, which it states in the Constitution that that's under our jurisdiction, our elections. This centralization is not constitutional. We want the voter registration database back into our control, and that reversed. Thank you so much.
Kenneth Anderson, Silver City, Iowa. There is a excerpt here from the NIST, National Institute of, what was that? Something in technology? Standards in Technology. This excerpt, I'd like to point out to you, it says right here, all systems shall achieve an error rate of no more than 1 in 10 million ballot positions. I want to reference an election held in Scott County, Iowa, Legislative District 81, last November, that had about 30 errors caused by the machines. They use ES&S machines there. And what happened is the election was so close, the first count was so close that it triggered an automatic recount by machine. The first count was by machine as well. That recount by machine that was automatically triggered was the ES&S equipment, changed the race outcome from a Republican winning it to a Democrat winning it. Subsequent to that, the Republican asked for a hand recount because they have that option over there in Iowa. Simple as checking a box, they get the hand recount instead of the machine recount. The hand recount showed that there was error by the ES&S election equipment of about 30 votes, which changed the outcome again, and the Republican won. 10 million, what does it say, 10 million ballot positions per error. With 30 errors like that, that would be over 300 perfectly counted ballot positions to justify that many errors. And we have no doubt, I'm sure all of us can agree that the technology is perfectly capable of meeting less than 1 error per 10 million ballot positions. But doesn't it seem kind of suspicious to you that when ES&S was able to go in and do the recount, they put their finger on the scale enough to get the Democrat to win, not knowing, of course, that the Republican would subsequently ask for a hand recount, and thereby prove that ES&S had their finger on the scales when they let their machines. All they had to do was switch a few votes around, and they did it so that the Democrat would win, not knowing that the Republican would ask for a manual recount. I don't know who they're schmoozing up, but they should have got cited or arrested. That's treasonous to put their finger on the scale like that. Get caught, and then nobody accuses them of a crime. That should have been done. They should have recognized that ES&S was involved in switching the outcome of that race in that first automatic recount that was triggered. . would you challenge ES&S? What about that? They gave enough errors over there, 30 of them. They haven't even tried to defend their machines against those errors. They're just, okay, we'll call them on it. That's enough errors, again, for over 300 million ballot positions. And I'm sure that takes care of everybody between Lancaster County and Scott County, Iowa. So, should affect us here. Thank you.
I'm Peggy Sismanic, and this is Cece. There are numerous clear indications of fraud from the 2020 election. Some are mathematical, but others are clear enough to see without a mathematical background. This appears to be an issue much wider than just Nebraska. However, Nebraska is who I'm here to talk about, and it likely included the cooperation of at least some people on the ground within the state. This is kind of an overview. The 5 proofs of fraud, we narrowed it down to 5, there are more than that. We had 4,001 more votes counted than registered voters that voted. 4 times on election night, the Secretary of State posted on our Nebraska vote results website that Trump got negative votes. So it's supposed to go up, 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 up. All of a sudden it went down. Okay, I don't know how that happens. Only one county, ours, Lancaster, had 4.5% more registered Republican than Democrats, and Joe Biden won. In fact, over 10,000 Republicans voted for Biden. Like all fraudulent elections targeting a result, our precincts counted their votes and prearranged over the 3 days it took to count 90% of the vote that the precinct with the most Biden votes submitted first, and then in order the precincts reported with increasing Trump votes until the precinct with the most Trump advantage submitted last. So I don't know if you followed that. It's the high Biden votes and then finally down Trump votes, and it was all in order. So it's like the people lined up and asked one another, who are you voting for? And let's get in order so it goes like that. That would never happen. Twice the Secretary of State posted on the election results website that the presidential vote total was low and at the incorrect ratio, and then corrected the results. One time, this was a drop to 0 votes for both candidates, followed by a huge 4% change from one instant to another. The 5 whys of fraud. Number 1, dozens of affidavits showing multiple ballots sent to people who were dead, had moved, and had not requested them. One of those people was my mom, who's 85. She doesn't live in Lancaster County, but she always votes in person, didn't request any ballots be sent to her. She got, well, she can't remember exactly, but she said it was somewhere between 6 and 10 ballots that she got, and she kept throwing them away, and they kept sending her another one. No independent verification and validation of our voting machine software and hardware to check for fraudulent software modules or hardware modifications. Number 3, gross over-registrations and over-voting attendance numbers proven by affidavits. Number 4, we're 43rd out of 50 states for election integrity according to analysis by the Heritage Foundation. And number 5, voting officials and executive branch members overlooking Lancaster County, the only county in the state where presidential results did not match the registered voters in the county. In Lancaster County, all independents and 13% of all Republicans voted for Joe Biden. In closing, I wasn't going to come today because right now I'm currently watching 4 grandchildren, and Cece's one of them. And I'm tired, and I'm tired of presenting this information to the county commissioners. So I have to constantly ask myself, why am I doing this? Because I have other things I could be doing. And I guess I think to myself, well, it's for them. It's for my kids. It's for my grandkids. But even more than that, I think at some point in our future, this is going to be resolved. I truly believe that. If I did not believe that, I wouldn't be here week after week. And I believe that we're going to find out what happened. And I want to be on the right side of what happened, like that I was fighting for the right thing. And I think all of us need to ask ourselves that. Are we fighting for the right thing?
That is your time. Thank you.
And so thank you for your time. And I hope we all do the right thing. Oh, yeah. See, I lose my hand.
Hello, I'm Dr. Susan Cass, and I thank you for allowing us to speak here today. I've been here a few times, as many of us have, and I listened even to a lot of the details that we've investigated and uncovered, and these come from our work that have been done here. They also come from across the country, and even actually out of the country, people investigating elections. And so there's overwhelming data from just about everywhere. What you probably don't realize, because it's not in the news, is that there are wins and turnovers happening everywhere, and information is coming out in every county, in every state of our country. And what we used to be called was conspiracy theorists. But I'm here to tell you, almost everything that I've been told was a conspiracy theorist has been turned around to be 100% accurate. And I can only speak to the medical aspects because that's my expertise. But everything that I investigated about COVID and vaccines, and especially masks, which is my expertise, were absolutely false, the information that had been spread. And you might wonder, well, why in the world is Trump still high up in the polls? It's because we represent millions of people across the United States that have realized that we've been lied to, that we've been deceived, that we've been opened up completely to infiltration from the outside and from the inside. And if you just investigated one of our claims that we have made and do that personally, you will realize what we're saying is absolutely 100% accurate. I put my scientific career of many years with the Center for Disease Control on the line because we had to have the correct information. And I just pray for all of you that you would all wake up and realize we are in a war here. We are being taken from within and from without in America. And we've been gracious enough to do your homework for you, to show you the evidence is coming down the pike. And you got to ask yourself, not are you on the right side or the wrong side, but are you on the good side or the evil side? Because as God is our witness, that's the only one we have to really answer to. And it is coming down the pike, I got to tell you. This is not just about who's in power. This is about who is the one that's in power and who is the truth. And I pray to God that you all have an awakening to this fact and stop spending our money that we worked hard for and not put it into a system that's being completely deceiving the public. And so I just want to know if you have any questions. I want to know if you have any comments or questions that we could answer here today.
It is our policy to not ask questions during public comment. This is a time for you to bring comments forward to us.
Okay, so the next question I have is how many people would you like to have on a petition to recognize how many people we actually represent? What would help you make that decision? Or better yet, what would it take for you guys to have a public hearing about the election machines before you spend our money on the election machines? What?
She just said they won't answer questions. You can send an email and ask the question.
Sorry, only people on the mic should be speaking at this point because we need this on the record.
Okay. So let the record show that you weren't interested in any feedback and any correction of any data or any information that we've gathered to help you do your job. Let it be on the record. Thank you for your time.
Good morning. My name is Richard Herget. I live in Lincoln, Nebraska. I am here just as a concerned citizen. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I can't stand the other party. I think they both suck. Honestly. When the president election in 2020 stopped at 10 o'clock at night because the machines couldn't keep up with the count, when has an election ever stopped on an election night? It has never, ever happened in the history of the United States. But yet, in 2020, the count stops in 5 states. 5 critical states, the election stops until the next morning. Next morning, it starts up, and all of a sudden, one party's ahead that was behind, and the other party that was ahead is now behind. Don't that bring any concerns to you guys? That's a national. But it don't start up there. It trickles down all the way down to county. And I know I don't really trust a lot of elected people, especially if they've been here more than 2 terms, because then they're here for their career and not for the people. We are the taxpayers. We're the ones that fund you guys the money, to spend the money for all the county needs, all the state people. If we would quit paying you guys, if we'd quit paying our taxes, you guys wouldn't be getting paid. You guys wouldn't have any money to spend at all if it wasn't for us. So why aren't you willing to listen to us, what we got to say? We are concerned citizens that this country is going to hell in a handbasket. And God is my Redeemer. And I'm telling you, if we don't straighten up and start doing things His way, we're not going to be here long to do any of this. That's all I got to say.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in public comment? Seeing none, we can proceed with the announcements.
Item 8, announcements. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold budget hearings on Tuesday, July 11th, 2023, immediately following the Board of Commissioners meeting in room 112 of the County City Building. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting on Thursday, July 13th, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold the following meetings on Tuesday, July 18th, 2023 in room 112 of the County City Building. Beginning at 9 o'clock a.m., special Board of Commissioners meeting, regular Board of Commissioners meeting, Board of Equalization meeting, budget hearings. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live on LNK TV. LNK TV is available on Allo Channel 2 and Spectrum Channel 1300. For the rebroadcast schedule, visit lincoln.ne.gov. Meetings are also streamed live on YouTube and Facebook. LNK TV apps are also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Next item is adjournment.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Please call the roll.
Flowerday?
Yes.
Vest?
Yes.
Amundson?
Yes.
Schulte?
Yes.
Yocum?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.